Okay, we ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here is our client recommendation. Our client's request was to recommend 5 learning techniques that have been demonstrated to be effective for Miss Keene to include in her workshop series. Our recommendation, the 5 learning techniques that we recommend to our client include SMART goals, concept mapping, digital flashcards, spacing and interleaving, and practice testing. Conceptual definitions of the variables. First, we have learning techniques. Those are methods or strategies that facilitate in the process of learning. Next are the results of learning techniques. These includes learning techniques were effective for students' learning and students' growth in their knowledge. Evidence from literature. First, we have SMART goals. In their study, undergrad students had reflection and planning activities assigned in week 3 and week 6. The quantitative data was in a form of a survey for all students to collect students' feedback. The results show that students do see value in completing the reflection and planning activities, and they do, at least to some degree, feel that the activities did improve their performance according to the authors. Reflection is a way that can help improve students' performance, and learning how to reflect and plan can be used as a learning technique. Next, we have digital flashcards. In their study, undergrad students answered a survey on digital flashcards compared to paper flashcards. Students had to answer how they use digital flashcards on what features they use. The survey was developed in constellation with previous surveys addressing digital learning tools by adapting items from a prior survey on how and when students engage in self-testing with flashcards in general. The results of the survey show that the vast majority of students report using them. Digital flashcards are overwhelmingly regarded as being beneficial for studying or learning. Today, college students' usage patterns show greater adherence to learning science-based principles when using digital flashcards. Next is spacing and interleaving. In their study, college students had to use spacing and interleaving to create learning schedules. The students got onto a computer where they were asked to imagine they were a math teacher and design a schedule for 2 weeks with the goal of maximizing student test performance. Most students did not choose the options that had the most spacing and interleaving, which means most of them did not know the importance of spacing and interleaving within teaching and how it benefits students' learning dramatically. The researchers found that college students underappreciated the utility of these techniques for math learning and also identify specific flaws in their belief. Spacing and interleaving improves students' learning, and when students are working through problems they learned about a while ago, they are continuing to be reminded of what they have learned and will be able to apply it to new knowledge.
Concept mapping. The study was used to determine if learning strategies can increase the success rates of these science courses. The study included improving metacognition skills through the form of learning strategies such as concept mapping, active reading, and self-assessment tools to help enhance critical thinking and retention. The sample included 348 first-year biology university students, and in this study, they use tools such as self-assessments, active learning strategies, interactive exercises, and biology exams. To collect the data from the study, they used t-tests, quantitative data of comparing the performance on exams of those who attended the workshop and those that did not attend the workshop. The results showed that those who attended the workshop scored higher on exams than those who did not attend the workshop. Practice testing. Within this study, participants were first and second year undergraduate students in medicine, biomedical science, or health science at a problem based learning university in the Netherlands. Students were randomly assigned to either the Study Smart condition or the control condition. Both groups were comparable with regard to high school GPA and average grades during the first three courses of the academic year. The Study Smart intervention program consisted of three sessions: awareness, reflection, and practice. Sessions took place every other week over a total period of 6 weeks, with the pretest in week 1 and the post-test in week 6. Metacognitive knowledge was measured about learning strategies and use of learning strategies with several instruments in the pretest and post-test. The use of learning strategies were additionally measured in short weekly learning surveys and group discussions. Students, how likely they were used, the strategy central to the Study Smart program, highlighting, summarizing, rereading, keyword mimics, mental imagery, elaborative integration, self-explanation, interleave practice, distribute practice, and practice testing while studying on a scale from 0 to never to 5 very often. The final results show that the students in the Study Smart condition reported to use more effective study strategies used as practice testing and less highlighting and rereading compared to the control condition at post-test.
Sorry, I was on mute. Our hypothesis for our experiment, we predict that that seniors will use more learning techniques than the freshmen due to having more college experience. The participants in our study are 200 college students from different educational departments. These students range from freshmen to senior. The study excludes students K through 12 and also the teachers and professors. All college students will receive an intro survey. Within this survey, we retain information on the student's academic status, whether that be learning disabilities, accommodations, and/or modifications. We will compare the results and have separate results for students who have learning disabilities versus those who do not. In addition to the intro survey, we will ask questions regarding the effective learning techniques as they use the techniques and so on, and so how they use them. We will also ask how effective the students think the learning techniques are based on their personal use of those techniques. Then our research group will categorize the data of students by grade level classifications and determine which effective learning strategies students use and found to be used most often based on their experience. Lastly, our research group will compare grade levels within the university and look at them as a whole as well to see what learning techniques students use, how often they use them, and what they found to be most effective. Our hypothetical results are that the seniors will use more learning techniques than any other classification, while the freshmen will use fewer learning techniques than any other classification.
Limitations and solutions. There are 4 limitations that could be found within this research. The first one is short-term versus long-term effectiveness. This basically is saying that the research might focus on immediate gains in learning rather than the long-term retention or transferability of knowledge, which are crucial for college students. 2 solutions for this is, for one, make sure that we are emphasize the techniques that have been shown to promote long-term retention, like spacing and practice testing. And then also providing evidence for studies that happen very often, if available, or success follow-up research to assess long-term impacts. The second one is limited evidence for college students. While these techniques are broadly supported by research, the evidence might not specifically target college students or reflect the unique challenges they face, such as managing large amounts of material in different diverse subjects. Two solutions for this is to first make sure that we review the study specifically involving college students and their unique learning environments, and then pilot these techniques with college student samples and gather data on their effectiveness in these demographics. The third limitation could be to have external factors that are not addressed. And this basically is saying that the recommendations may not consider external factors like the student's time management, their motivation, or access to resources, all of which can influence the effectiveness of these learning techniques. Two solutions for this is to first make sure that we include a section addressing common barriers such as the lack of time, motivation, or resources, and then offer solutions such as time management tips or even a free or low cost resources that they could use. And then two, encouraging students to seek support from academic advisors or peer study groups to help enhance their learning strategies that they are using. The fourth limitation is lack of focus on individual differences. So this is the recommendation that techniques might not account for the variability in students' learning preferences, their cognitive abilities, in the culture or linguistics backgrounds. With words for one group of students may not work for another group of students because of their diverse backgrounds. So two solutions for this is to first make sure that we're conducting surveys or focus groups with diverse groups of college students to understand their preferences and needs. And then two, to include techniques that are adaptable to various learning styles such as auditory, visual, kinetics, etc., or provide guidance on how to tailor the instruction. Oh, how to tailor the, I can't really see the, okay. How to tailor the techniques to different individuals. Contribution to the literature. Our study contributes to our literature. In our study, we use surveys to measure and collect data. We examine different learning techniques and analyze how these learning techniques were beneficial for improving student learning. Our study also focused on using 5 different learning techniques that would be beneficial to use in our workshop and relies on the effective learning techniques that they relate to college student usefulness. Literature findings to our clients' requests. So with digital flashcards, the research shows that if they're used correctly, they could be very beneficial for studying, but if not used correctly, then students are not reflecting on what they are studying. And in order for us to be able to use these correctly for recommending to our client, we need to make sure that we are using it correctly for our research. For concept mapping, research shows that the importance of using study skills and how much of an influence that they can have on one student's academic studies, and that the learning style or strategy can differ from each student because all students learn differently. For practice testing, the research shows that making students aware of effective and ineffective learning strategies and how to use each strategy effectively plays a huge role on student learning success. SMART Goal research shows that reflection is a way that can help improve student performance to a certain degree. And learning how to reflect and plan can be used as a learning technique. And for spacing and interleaving, research shows that this improves students' learning. And when students are working through problems they learned about a while ago, then they are continuing being reminded of what they have learned and will be able to apply it to new knowledge. Our recommendation is that the learning The 5 learning techniques that we recommended to our client include SMART goals, concept mapping, digital flashcards, spacing, intervening, and practice testing that would be effective in making sure that students' learning are increased.